I was actually an educated architect from 1995, and I really couldn't find a job. And I applied different stuff, and this is the only architecture I ever did. And it's actually an installation / art, because in 1996, Copenhagen was a what do you call it? A European capital, culture capital, and we heard there was money in this area, so they granted this. And but the point is, I didn't really feel comfortable with the whole process of architecture. I was looking for a language of free expression, of expressing myself, and the whole thing about architecture, the 5-year plans, all the technical stuff was not suiting my temper. So I started doing art, and I felt very provoked about being a person running around in Copenhagen and not feeling anything or trying to get a job, and this frustration, and I tried to channelize all this frustration into art, and as you can see, I was quite angry at those days, and this frustration about the whole art system and the architecture system. What I found out was the art system was exactly the same. There's this power structures which was provoking me. This whole so I used this art to question, and I express, find my personal expression to react, and I comment on stuff and I attack stuff, and and I felt that this came very naturally to me. So I thought, why not make money with this? So I tried to market my own frustration via the art, and this is an example of. You can see that all artists are only fighting about getting the richest customers. And a lot of different, this is an example of another approach to, about a sexual frustration. I had some notes about this one. It's a commentary of sexual exploitation, and of course, the most galleries and art dealers in the world are only interested in fucking their clients. And this is kind of a silver statue, and we made about 100 of them, and now people use them as paperweights on their offices. But along this process, I felt a lot of people following me, and they found the same kind of frustration about not being able to express themselves in a society where everything is so crazy. And this portrait is a kind of an emblematic attempt to stage myself as a warrior and a fighter on behalf of all these people who felt this crazy world falling apart around me. I felt followed by people, and this kind of all this following gave me some sort of how would you say, more like a confidence, and this confidence built, and it built, and it built, and strangely enough, people were suggesting me projects like, why don't you do a motorcycle? And I loved it because it was kind of commenting on this crazy style and fashion and all this imagery overload in society. Later on, I did this project, which is it's a series of 100 Rolex watches, and so far I did 24 of them. And what the idea is that you bring your Rolex watch, and I upgrade it to an artwork. They pay for it, and the subtitle of this project is, there's always an asshole behind a Rolex. But and people still coming with this. I got to do one next week. And this moved on to kind of a general attack and commenting on social figures and political structures. You see here, Obama is one of this series of iconic political figures. And again, trying to attack and comment and digging out the truth behind the truth in society. This guy is obviously a fake. He has he hired big corporations to his government. He's It's supported by Goldman Sachs, and you can see the image is implying that he's talking about human rights, but China is eating him up slowly. Later on, also commenting on low-life masculinity and the porn industry and the whole aspect of femininity and masculinity in society and the magazines and media culture. It's to be, you can only be sick about it, that girls wants to look like this and men wants to fuck these, but it's also in a way absurd, and there is, in a strange way, there's a beauty in this absurdity. Through this process of attacking and commenting on social culture and being around all this, growing up in this media corporate bullshit time, I created some kind of confidence through this system, and I started creating my own imagery and built on this strength to fight back about this visual rape we feel every day as human beings. And this is a project where I actually try to do something with a company called Lumiere, and then change kind of the idea of fighting back and showing the power and the strength of being a human being, breathing and living. And this moved also to more recent work where I kind of soften off a bit and feel that maybe it's not so bad anyway, and colors will help you, but it's a structure. Sooner or later, my work became more and more divided in two sections. I do these crazy one-bits of work, then I do these big projects, which the one I'm going to talk about later today, the deep storage project, is one of them. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about two big projects which I also have been involved with. This is an Africa project which I did in 2008, and basically it's about going to Africa, to a village, and persuading 100 Africans to change their name into my name in exchange for 100 livestock animals. The project was called "We Want to Help You, but We Want to Own You." And they went for it, and they were happy. And the biggest problem was actually to not make them not smile on the photographs. But they were really people were crazy about in my culture in Copenhagen, where I come from. People were angry about it, and there was a lot of discussion. But in a way, I'm just trying to show off the general disgust about what's happening in the world. You can say that it's testing the ethical frame we live in. The only thing is to react and try to show why this is happening. Why are there still people dying every day in Africa in 2014? Why are we still exploiting them? What's happening? I'm not an expert on third world issues, but I was just provoked about the whole situation, and I got a chance to do the project. So here you see they got the new name, the identity cards with the name on it here. And in the end, it went with a big exhibition to show the whole thing. Then I did another big one, which is called the Arms Investment Corporation, where 100 people were invited to buy a painting, and each painting was a stock. If you own one of these 100 paintings, you own 1% of the company, and half of the money that comes from the paintings goes into an investment fund, and these investment account will only buy stocks in weapon-producing companies. So in a way, if you have one of these paintings, you are an arms dealer yourself. So what is it trying to show? I don't know. I'm the artist, but I'm not the expert. But as I react on instinctive energy, I feel that there's so much hypocrisy and stupidity around. So I had to react on it. And this is kind of one of my big projects. It's still going, and the stocks are going up. And when I think we sold about 70 of them now. And but we're following and seeing where it's going. Nobody knows where it's going. Here's one of the stocks. So you can say that instead of when you look at Africa, you're kind of testing the borders of what is possible in society in political sense. This project was kind of testing the borders of the financial system, and why would intelligent stockbrokers deal in weapons, and why would people be in this? Why wouldn't they react? I'm just curious, and I'm trying just to ask this question, and you can say that many of these buyers of these shares / paintings, they come from different environments. Some of them are from some of them are investment people, some are hippies, some are peacekeepers, and they're kind of mixed crowd, which also shows there's the interest of this kind of, as you say in very flashy words, imminent criticism, somebody call it. I don't know, I just do it. Another project I did was the Langeland school massacre project. After all these school shootings in America and around the world, I feel so inspired to try it out on real schools. So I went to this little school in Denmark, and they invited me to do an art day with them, and they said, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to draw apples and pears? And no, I want to do a performance. And they said, okay, what kind of performance? I want to reenact Columbine shooting and let the students photograph it and document it as if it had happened on their school. So what happened, what you see is like they went completely crazy, and the teachers were crying, and and we were talking about the old quote from Adolf Hitler that you need the wildness and the toughness of the youth. And you really see how crazy and fascinated they are, and they acted like gangsters. They were very much into it, and you can't see if it's real or not. And I think everybody was so impressed about why. And the point is, of course, these nice middle-class Western European kids, how would they know about this kind of violence? Where do they learn it? And I don't want to be called a moralist, but still, it's really interesting that this project, in a way, investigates the dark zones of the educational system. You can say that it asked the question, why is nobody saying no? And actually, one student out of the hundreds actually didn't want to take part, but they went completely crazy. Now we are at the point where I have to start the real talk. This is just warming up, and this is what I was invited here to talk at a tech conference. I still don't know really why, but let's see. I'll show a film now. Baby Sapphire, 300 fod, helikopterplads, kran. Det er nøjagtigt sådan en, vi skal have. Hold kæft, mand. Hvor fanden skal vi lege sådan en hen? Hvorfor vil man bruge 2 millioner kroner på at fise jorden rundt, tage blodprøver på folk, og så proppe den ind i en kæmpe skulptur og smide den ned i Stillehavet? It's actually, we are collecting 5,000 blood samples. The project is called Deep Storage. We're going to put a big 5 meters big sculpture into the Marianas Trench in the Pacific Ocean. We're like the opposite of Jurassic Park. We're placing things for the future. So in 10,000 years, when they pick it up, they recreate. What's your name? Mana. They remana you.
Det er første gang, jeg har lavet et projekt, hvor der ikke er direkte sådan, ting, man kan sælge. Det er pengene fosser ud af statskassen i øjeblikket. Alle de rejser, alle de der blodprøvnings... Det er jo gratis certifikater. Alt er gratis her.
Men jeg skal nok ordne det, ellers sover jeg nede på gulvet. Jeg er ligeglad.
Projektet hænger i laser, men de holder ved. Hver eneste gang, der ryger et billede, så kommer der en flyvebillet ind på kontoen. Vi rejser, og vi sælger, og vi rejser, og vi sælger.
Bare over for medierne og for folk må vi bare sige, at det går skide godt.
Jeg skal optræde i et program, der hedder Liebhaverne. De tror altså, at jeg er mange millionærer og er i markedet for de her huse. Det er diskret luksus, det kan jeg godt lide. Jeg synes, jeg kan ikke rigtig sige noget dårligt om det. Det eneste skulle være, at det må godt være lidt større.
Tør I wanted to get you on the radio to talk a little bit about it. Jay, how much money is this going to cost you? Have you got an estimate at this point?
I don't want to look at the numbers.
At one time, this was stardust, and pretty soon it will be stardust again. Because it's going back into the bowels of the earth.
The trench itself is the actual womb of this earth. In that womb, we're going to put back the seeds of humanity.
Nu skal du høre efter. Du går ikke og taber den her hele tiden. Ellers må du overlade det til nogle andre mennesker. Vi kan ikke... Hør her,
Hector har lige tabt den.
Jamen, hold du den, Hector. Kom, vi kan godt gå, mens jeg skælder ud. Brug lige den der også, ikke? Kom. Det er President Underwood. Det er sådan, de titulerer ham, ikke? Robert Underwood.
Underwear.
Det var ikke sjovt. Nu skal vi være fokuseret.
Jeg
Hitler.
Hitler.
That's right, that was right.
Hitler?
No. Hi Hitler, no.
Jeg er stadig ikke rigtig kommet mig over, at lige derude, der er der altså rigtig dybt. 11 kilometer dybt. I går mødte vi en forretningsmand. Han fortalte os, lige inden Bush gik af, så lavede han lige hele Mariana Trench til et nationale monument. Det vil sige, at de har claimet det. Selvom det er uden for deres sømiddelgrænser, så har de claimet det, og de kan gøre det, hvad de vil. Og der er nogle underlige rygter om, at det er til militær brug.
Lige nu, der går det da fantastisk. Altså alle døre, de springer simpelthen op.
Det er som om, der foregår noget, jeg ikke rigtig ved. Det er ligesom for godt til at være sandt.
This was filmed in 2009, and we're still not done, almost. But what happened since? We traveled around, whenever we had some money, we traveled around the different galleries, concerts, all kinds of strange gatherings where we could get people to sign up, and they pay with their blood, take their hair, keep the samples, and now we reached the 4,500 or something, and all these samples, after, it's a nightmare, but we managed to get it collected, only because we had a client. Suddenly, we managed to sell one sculpture to be on land, to kind of be the sister sculpture of the one that's going into the ocean. And this is a commissioned work from a city in Denmark. And what happened was, with this money, we could finish the project. And this is a stainless steel version of the one. It has the same angles, and it's a very, very, it's like, 150 meters of steel welded together. And there's lighting on it. And this was a big turning point. It happened last year. So the project, of course, is about collecting DNA, putting it in a sculpture, and throwing the sculpture into Marianas Trench, 11 kilometer deep. And we did it. I still don't know really why. I follow a kind of intuition, but there is, of course, if I ask my intellectual friends, they say it's an expression of mutual wish, of collective integrity. It's in the fulfillment of a utopian vision, expressing desire, and of a collective participatory artwork. It's a fulfillment. Everybody thinks about dying. I think about it constantly. Is there any chance? And I think that's the missing link to why probably I'm invited here, because here you can talk about really crazy stuff like singularity and telekinesis and web connective tanglement and shit. It's really, really crazy, and I feel very welcome here actually. And you can say stuff, and this, if you can really think about it, what if you wake up in like 2,000 years, somebody fishes up this sculpture, and you can have another trip. You can do it again. And that's the and the weird part was, of course we couldn't travel all over the world, but we had a do-it-yourself kit online, and I think we had like 500-600 people sending letters or putting the $20 for a return envelope with a do-it-yourself kit. So people in India, Calcutta, and South America, and why would they put their blood into this sculpture? And I love the fact that we really can't answer it. It's a kind of a fulfillment of a wish, of a dream, and I think it's something to do. I'm trying to be like transnational, transgressional, and trans-religious. It's nothing. It's pure in a way. And there is a hope in there for something, and. Even though I sound cynical about it, it had a huge effect on me when we went out to this island here. This is like a 4-hour flight from Tokyo. And this little island here, Saipan, and here you see the big tectonic plates converging into 11 kilometers depth. And so we managed to find a boat and build the star out there, and we sailed out here, and we jumped it. It sounds easy, but it was horrible. Just building the thing down there, finding the materials. We found an old boat from a Vietnam War veteran guy, a landing craft. Here you see beautiful, coming from Vietnam, it was a cliche, beautiful. The old American soldiers helping us. They loved the project. I don't know why, but they didn't have a crane, so fuck that. They put a truck on the boat to a lift crane, so we could go out there. And it's like 12 hours of sailing, and they even made flags. And finally, we made it out there after crashing the lifeboat, and all the photographers were scared. And it doesn't look but it was very wavy and windy. And finally, we got it in. And after we scratched the boat and the sculpture, and you see that little thing here, that is the actually solid steel cylinder where all the DNA is inside a pressure-proof chamber. And down it goes. We managed to get a couple of divers in the water, and when you don't know a lot about diving, you think you can just jump in. But when there's 8 knots of current, and the divers don't want to jump in because they're scared, we have to pay them more to get in. And this is we had like 4 GoPro cameras in there, and luckily we got a few shots. The first plan, when I did the project, was we were involved with big corporations, and we tried to get funding and this and that. And we even talked to Singularity guys, and they said they wouldn't be part of it because it's illegal. They wouldn't have a stain on their pure image in San Francisco or wherever they are. I understand that, but they liked the project, but they didn't cash in. But anyway, the plan was to bring cameras down, and they were $100,000 each. So we did it our own way. It was better to finish it and get it down, and I can tell you, when we saw these images, it was so strange, and the water is so pure and so amazing out there. And after 4 years of hard work and terrible fighting with the system, it just goes away and into the deep. And later this summer, the 200 hours of film will be cut down to 1 film and be ready hopefully in June, July. So there will be a whole documentary about it, which is hopefully showing the whole thing. But this is just a little taste, and you can watch that when it comes. That's me. Thank you very much.